Hello and welcome to Dax's Deviants. It's Funzo who's taken over with the Funzo R. Yay! Say hello, Dax.
Hi, thanks for taking over my show.
You're very welcome. Anyway, I'm going to stop sounding like a radio presenter from Northern Ireland and start the show with you. Yeah, so obviously when you interviewed me afterwards, I said, you should be interviewed. People need to get to know Dax.
You did.
And what better way? Yeah, but what better way to end the season or the series, or season even, than talking to yourself? So, okay. Obviously, I'm not as professional as Dax. I haven't had as much experience. That's all the excuses out of the way. I also have a little bit of hay fever today. There's another little bit of excuse. Anyway, so let's see how we go. Okay, so I'm going to start off with using a little bit of your format and the pup name, Dax. You've explained a few times in the show
Yes.
where the name came from. Obviously, Star Trek. What's that name mean to you?
What does the name mean to me? Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, very big Trekkie, and one of the things that really helped me get through uni was Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It was something I started watching kind of in my third year of uni. And yeah, there was just days where I was trying to study. I would have Deep Space Nine on in the background, and I just kind of fell in love with Jadzia Dax. She was always this really quirky, flirty character, but she was incredibly intelligent and ridiculously skilled. And I just kind of looked up to her as this, person of science who knew when to be serious but was always playful in nature. And she was just this person that I really aspired to be. I mean, she didn't really care much for sexuality, as she had a symbiote inside her, so she had lived 8 lifetimes at this point, both male and female. So she didn't really see gender as I like one or the other, because she's been with both, so she doesn't really care. And just the way she presented herself was always just absolutely incredible. And when it came to choosing a pup name, I had to go with kind of one of the biggest inspirations for me actually finishing getting my degree and the person that I kind of aspire to be. So I went with Dax.
At least you didn't go with the other name Cisco gave her, which was Old Man.
True. Yeah.
But obviously Star Trek is a big part. I did laugh there when you released my episode and there was a couple of friends popped up there and automatically went in there going, it took Funzo 30 seconds to bring Star Trek up.
Yeah.
And it's the same again in this episode. So obviously then you've obviously had a lot of questions and a lot of, you've had 9 interviews now?
Yes, 9
with so many other pups there. And I always found it really interesting how everybody came to find their pup name. It's it's funny because some they just randomly find it. It's a thing that they watch on TV or something like that there. But it's interesting how it gives you a great perspective on how people, our pups, want to identify and portray themselves.
Yeah.
The next thing that I found rather interesting was obviously your style, your colors, the pup breed, your tribes.
Yes.
How would you define your style?
You see, I've still been kind of experimenting with my own style, and when Dax made his first appearance at Darklands 2022, it was very much a full rubber pup. So I had my Doc Martens, I had my rubber surf suit with my sleeveless rubber hoodie. I had my orange pup hood at that point with my collar. And slowly I've then changed to, I now wear a chain constantly with a padlock around my neck. I do tactical leather pup, which I really, really enjoy that look. I think that's probably one of the looks where I feel strongest in the headspace and most confident. And for Club Locks, I tried rubber tactical, which was my rubber surf suit, sleeveless hoodie, my boots, my big Mr. B bright orange socks, and my tactical vest. And I wore my half hood for that one, just so I could have my glasses and that on. And it was, again, another look that I was very comfortable and very happy in.
And you looked very well. I've seen the picture. It was
Thank you.
Looked like I find the tactical look interesting. It's one that I actually haven't gone down that route yet. I've stuck with leather and rubber. So the tactical side of things, because obviously you spoke to a couple of pups in the season that are into the tactical. I think Neutron and let me make sure I pronounce this properly. Is it Kerberos?
Kerberos, yes.
Yeah, they go for that tactical look there. What's the headspace with that?
It's a weird one. Like, I feel very masculine in it, and as someone who probably the most masculine thing I've done in my life was getting my NPA in construction. I've always kind of wanted to be more masculine. I just, my own body, like I wasn't able to grow a beard until I was 20. I've not really got much body here, and I'm not even that muscular either. I always struggled to put on weight and define. So having the kind of tactical gear gives me this kind of sense of masculinity. And I know obviously that sounds very sexist because we have plenty of women who wear tactical gear and that, but for me personally, it just gives me this very masculine sense of self, and it kind of empowers me that little bit. And it's just a look that I feel very, very confident in. And I think, that's when my headspace is kind of strongest.
Yeah, I get the empowerment. Obviously, Funzo's in the process, but a good bit of Funzo's been replaced now. But I did find there that the loss of the gear, he lost a little bit of that self and that empowerment. So that was, the tactical actually might be. I know a couple of friends that do the tactical gear look, and it looks awesome. It looks completely fantastic.
I recommend it, honestly. Like I got custom name tags. I ordered them from Amazon, so it's got a little Scottish flag and then an orange letter, and it says Pup Dax. And then I also got a Star Trek Delta. So that's underneath my name tag as well. Which is the best thing about tactical vests, is that they are covered in Velcro, so you can just get Velcro stickers and just whap them on there.
That's fantastic. I'm waiting on my, is it the Berlin Bar Fest, Leather Fest arriving?
Ooh, that'll be fun.
I've been collecting a few pins, you see, and it seems to be a lot of people wear the pins on these Berlin Bar Fests, and I just kind of was like, you know what?
Yeah.
With Kinky and I, we've ordered some pins. I'm sitting there going, okay.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Pins out there, so go to different events and try to find and collect pins out of each organization. You'll have to get daxsdeviants pins made.
Well, now that you've said it, I'm going to have to do it. I'm also looking at getting custom lanyards made as well.
Oh, I've
Everyone
when you
loves a
visit, I will
lanyard.
show you
Everyone loves a
all my
lanyard.
Star Trek ones.
Oh, now I'm interested.
Yep. Okay, I got them at Comic-Con in Belfast, and it was probably about 6 years ago. Anyway, yeah, I think I've only one picture. I was so excited there. I never took any picture. I was just like running around looking at things. The only picture I have is me standing beside the General Lee, Dodge car from.
Nice. I literally at Glasgow Comic Con, I only got one photo, and it is me getting a signature from Dominique McKelgert, who plays Queen Maeve in The Boys. And you can kind of see from my posture in that moment that I am completely frozen and just like brain shut down. Because the moment she spoke to me, I was like, "Hey, how are you? I love your jacket." I just every single word in the English language just left my mind. I had so many questions for her about the ending of the season for The Boys, and yeah, I didn't ask anything because I was just so starstruck from meeting her. And it was really confusing because I always assumed that, when you see these, absolutely gorgeous characters on screen, you're like, oh my God, they must have to go through like hours and hours of hair and makeup. She is fucking gorgeous in person. Like, I think, like, for her hair and makeup, they just go, oh, here's a little touch up. There you go, babe. That's you. You're good. Because she is, like, honestly, she looked the exact same on screen as she did just in her, normal clothes for Comic-Con. It was wild.
Seriously. Wow. No, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful there just to be that perfect?
I know, right?
without any actually a makeup artist's dream, I suppose.
Oh, I know.
If I was that makeup artist, I'd be like loading or like ordering loads of crap and then just sitting there going, yeah, I've used it all in her.
Oh, honestly.
So tell me, with obviously we discussed your styles, and my phone just decided to go off.
It's all right. Take your time.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about being a pup?
My favorite thing about being a pup. So this is something that I've only kind of explored in the last year after having several conversations with different people. Is that it is now heavily suspected that I have ADHD. It's something that I'm gonna get tested for just to kind of get that confirmation. But being in the pup head space, I can really be myself, and I can be kind of goofy and high energy and a little bit wild. Whereas, in my day-to-day life, I have some level of professionalism. So I do tone it down. Obviously, with colleagues and that, I do joke around. One of my good colleagues, Nikki, she's a mature woman. I don't want to say, I was going to say older, but then that would be really rude and she'd probably stab me. But she's got a very dirty mind and we just bounce off of each other. She's absolutely hilarious. But being able to kind of socialize with other pups and just, be this wild, high energy, very social pup, it's absolutely fantastic, and it does wonders for the mental health, because I do feel like all of the tension that I've built up from work and things like that, I can just kind of release and forget about and kind of be myself. I'm also a very bitey pup, which Neutron may have found out the hard way. I felt really bad at the weekend there because I left a massive bruise on his shoulder, and it was one of those where I was like, oh, that doesn't look healthy. Yeah. Sorry. It was I
had the same thing happen at Darklands with another pup.
Yeah.
Bit me on the shoulder, but accidentally broke the skin. and I hadn't realized. I was just
Oh,
like,
no.
ow, 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 ow. And then they left it and I rubbed it and then I just went on. And then they were like,
God.
oh, I pierced the skin. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. But it's kind of like, whoops.
I mean, I didn't really break the skin, but it was a very deep purple. Yeah, that's the problem with Dax, is that I have a very, very good suction force, which is good for two things: leaving hickeys and the other thing.
So, when are you booking your flights? No, yeah. With obviously during the last few episodes, you've been mentioning how you're trying to get Pup Scotland going.
And the controversial subject.
Controversial subject, but we came from a similar point of view.
Yes.
Where the big cities, the big capitals, Dublin, on either of our islands. London would be your main capital, obviously, not on the island of Britain.
Yep.
We're sometimes not forgotten about, but the reach of the big city doesn't always reach as far north as we'd like, and you're clearly trying to create a space for people out of their reach, but to try and bring them into the fold, in a sense. How's that been going for you? What's the reaction been like for you with people who have listened to the episodes?
So it's a bit of a tough one at the minute. I have been kind of going to events and doing networking, mainly to try and extend the reach of the podcast so I can reach out to more people that would be interested in attending kind of Scotland-based events. And after speaking to Scottish pups and things like that, like, yeah, there's definitely a need for it there. And trying to get things set up is... The big thing is finding the venue that is willing to host, pups and deviants for a kink themed night. And the second one is finding it in a place that is accessible to, a larger number of people that are willing to come. Because obviously we've got two major cities on each end of the coast. So, you've got Edinburgh and Glasgow. So it's all fine and well to say, okay, we're having this event in Glasgow, but then there might be people from Edinburgh that, they might not drive, or, the trains stop at midnight. So, they might not be able to get home in time. And it's things like that is kind of making things a little bit more difficult. And then I end up going into the branch of, okay, well, what if I run two? And then I think, okay, but that's going to be a lot more of a workload trying to organize two social events. So yeah. I'm still a little bit in limbo with the sorting of things. And
Falkirk is not an option.
Falkirk is not an option. No, unfortunately not.
No offense to anybody from Falkirk listening. I'm only joking.
That's quite all right. But yeah, just off the back of what you were saying about, the reach up to the north, I absolutely get that. And I do get that, some people might feel like, oh, well, if you're starting a Scottish pups, then you're going to be stepping on the feet of the UK pups. That's not the case at all. The case with that is that they, one, don't have the reach, and two, they don't try to engage up here. And I'm not saying
need to reach because they have it already.
It's not like, I'm calling, I know I'm not doing that. But what I am saying is that, if they want to include Scotland, they need to try and push for more events up here and, try and get, that sort of stuff sorted. And it's a very big task, because kink up here is still kind of a taboo subject, which is kind of sad. I know there's a few nights for kind of swingers and stuff that's starting up. I know there's one in Edinburgh. I think Torture Garden is in Edinburgh. Not something I've been to yet, but it's something that I will consider in the future. Because, you know, if I start trying to promote things closer at home, then maybe I might find a good venue there. But it's just one of these kind of tasks that I'm trying my best. But obviously trying to find a venue that's willing to do it is the kind of big one at the minute.
It's one of the big issues that Kinky and I faced.
Yeah.
And then two come at once, but well, not necessarily two at once, but we've managed to. We're doing our anniversary, first year of Kinky and I. We're doing an event at Maverick, but
which will be this Saturday.
Yes, this Saturday. I was actually about to ask you, I was going to say, when's this going out there? Because I wanted to say whether or not, and it was totally epic.
No. So, yeah. So, no, episode 9 went out this week. So it'll be episode 10 is going out on the, would they be on the 23rd? So that'll be 25th Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that's the 29th? 28th, 29th?
Yeah. It's a bank holiday, isn't it? The May Day bank holiday, or not May Day.
I think May so. What's a bank holiday? I don't know what those are.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm a civil servant, and I get everything.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah. The only thing we don't get is Hogmanay, but we're asking for it, even though we're not Scottish. Anyway,
I was gonna say, who calls it Hogmanay? Like, oh. Scottish over here, nice.
Well, oh yeah.
I mean, Hogmanay for this year absolutely sucked for me, but hopefully it'll be better this year.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be a few more purple marks.
Hey yo.
Anyway, well, you said it sucked. Anyway,
true.
Yeah. So. I'm going to go back to the podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
Was it meant for you to do this podcast and to engage with so many pups from so many different backgrounds and so many different countries as well?
It has been incredibly rewarding. Being able to reach out and talk to the community members directly has been absolutely amazing. Honestly, talking to title holders and that, 9 times out of 10, they're these very confident individuals. They've been doing what they do for a while. They're, confident, headstrong. They know what they're doing. They have the networking. So, they're happy to talk about the things that they've done before. But being able to talk to kind of the non-title holders, the people that make kind of the essence of the community is actually really refreshing because, there's plenty of podcasts out there where they talk to title holders and only title holders, and they're absolutely fantastic podcasts. Don't get me wrong. I think they're great, but being able to kind of talk to people that, aren't title holders and, are maybe new and they're just starting out. I think that's more rewarding than talking to, the bigger boys.
Well, there are, you say bigger boys, but, I would say the bigger boys are the ones that are putting the sash over their necks or getting the sashes made and, running the events.
Absolutely.
Those are the guys, those are the true heroes of the community. And that's what you're trying to do as well, is get things going. And then once the ball's rolling, then everything else comes with it, and
absolutely.
You can sit back and look at it with satisfaction, as I'm sure Darkland's organizers do. They really run a fantastic show.
Oh, they do.
The artwork, the layout, the like the effort that goes into like setting that up. Like they must have,
yeah, the setup
between the previous event that was based there, and then they get the rush in their like changing rooms and set everything up, and all the lockers and all the artwork and all the stages and all the scaffolding and all the, it's. I'm
always impressed with how fresh
task.
they keep it, because there's every year they do a different stage design. They do different designs for like the dark rooms and the water sports area and the fisting area. Like the fact that they keep it fresh every year and do something different is absolutely incredible. And the fact that I think they start getting things set up on the Monday or Tuesday, and everything's ready by kind of the Thursday, or like the main area is ready by the Thursday, and then everything's completely ready for the Friday is absolutely mad. Because it's such a big area, and when you see the empty warehouse, you're like, whoa, this is a huge space. But they managed to fill it in such a way that when everybody's in there, you can't really tell that it's just an old dock warehouse. It's absolutely wild.
It's actually a really impressive building.
Oh, it's lovely.
And what I will say is, like, Antwerp, what a fantastic city. Like, it was my first time there, and they need to be careful with the amount of curbs that they put up for all the cycle lanes and the scooter lanes, because I was just looking at the architecture and I was sitting there going, wow.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous city.
I got lost on a grinder hookup. I think I mentioned this, but not lost. Their GPS was a wee bit off. But I ended up in the middle of the square.
Right.
And I was like, wow. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to sit here and have a couple of pints. And then the person was like, oh, yeah, can you not travel the 2 miles that I sent you in the wrong direction to come and meet? I'm like, no, I'm done now. I'm closer to the Darklands. I'm going to have a pint.
Yeah. Do you know what? Fair enough. No, it is such a gorgeous city. And I know this is going to sound really dumb. I absolutely love their transport infrastructure, because they have a bit of everything. The fact that they have dedicated cycle lanes that you can use the scooters on, they have the trams, they have taxis, buses, the train from
you could even rent a car.
It's wild, yeah.
There was like Poppy and Uber cars and LimeWire. Whoops, not LimeWire.
Download music.
That's old school. But yeah,
you downloading old school Lady Gaga or?
Oh, absolutely.
What was your
up to 12 kilobytes per second?
Ooh. What was your main big downloads on LimeWire? I personally never used LimeWire. What was it I used? God, I just remember when I was younger playing a lot of Roblox and Habbo Hotel.
Oh, Habbo Hotel, where it was just full of creepy people.
I don't remember it being creepy. But then I also was much younger, so God, how old was I?
My sister was on Habbo Hotel, and there was like a news report saying that most of the 10-year-olds aren't 10-year-olds. That would make sense nowadays. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, back when the internet was new and fresh and innocent.
Oh, remember when YouTube's homepage was handpicked, not an algorithm?
Oh, jeez. And then Facebook, you actually seen photos of your friends, not ad after ad after ad.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, yeah, I noticed there was a topic there that popped up when you were going through your questions with each pup, and mental health popped up quite a lot.
Yes.
And one of the things that I found was quite refreshing was the willingness and the openness. One, people were so open about being approachable. Two, they were so willing to talk about it. How did you find these topics being brought up? Because sometimes talking about mental health, it's such a positive thing to do, but it can be uncomfortable at times as well. So how did you find it when discussing it?
Mental health can be a difficult topic to talk about in kind of any situation, really, because so sorry, my throat's a little bit dry. For some people, it depends on the experiences that you've had that can lead to, your mental health being either really good or really bad. But I strongly believe that getting into the pup headspace is kind of a way of escapism from, things that might be getting you down and things like that. So yeah, I mean, over the years, I've been very much a mixed bag of, going through depression, having anxiety. I did have a very bad relationship at one point, whereas with someone very manipulative, and did end up having to go through therapy after it. But I came out the other side, a bit happier. And after that, really discovered my kinks a little bit more and started getting into the kind of pup play side of things. And that's been kind of a saving grace for me. I know there might be other people that feel this way and other people that think, you're just talking a whole load of shit. But for me, the puppy headspace really is a great way to kind of unwind, forget about, everything else that's going on in my life and just be a dumb little puppy for a little bit. And yeah, it does wonders.
Yeah, but for me, it's just a happy place. And you can just pop on the hood. You don't even need to pop on the hood. You can just chat on different social media platforms. And, it is just a happy place. We have friends and it's isn't it weird how, like most people in the normal world, we'll say normal as normal can be, their friends are within about a 10-mile radius of them. They can meet up and go to the pub very easily. Whereas with pups, we really do need an event. We really do need to travel. You've been traveling some crazy miles, but it's the fact that that if you're meeting up with these people, there's effort that they really are, they put in the effort. They really are going to have the best time when they actually make the most of it. How has the miles? How is the car going with the 4-hour drives?
Oh, geez.
To Manchester.
So I drove down Friday night, and then drove back. It's not Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and overall I used a tank and a half of fuel, which is probably about 80 quid worth of fuel, which is still cheaper than getting the train down. And it also kind of gives me that little bit of... That's
ridiculous though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Public
but
transport's more expensive.
It does give me that little bit of independence though, to be like, okay, I'm just going to jump in my car and like go to the shop and get stuff. Whereas, if I'm relying on public transport, the minute I was able to, drive and things like that, I became very independent. And, the only times that I would really rely on public transport is if I was going to uni and things like that. Mainly because I didn't have a parking permit, which means that I'd have to try and find one of the streets to park in near my uni. And the uni that I went to is smack bang in the middle of Sighthill. And anyone from Scotland that has driven through Sighthill knows that you've got the 3 kamikaze roundabouts, which, it's ridiculous the amount of accidents that happen there because, people just pull out in front of you. So to avoid getting in an accident in that, because back then, I wouldn't say I was a nervous driver, but, I was very like, I'm not getting into any accidents because I will not be able to afford a new car. So I would just get the train to Edinburgh Park and then just walk from there because it's only like a 10-15 minute walk from Edinburgh Park to get to the uni, which was fine for me. But usually I would prefer to just have my car everywhere now because it makes life so much easier.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you the question, have you ever had an accidental headspace switch in a normal situation? Because you literally, I know the answer, because you barked at someone in the last week or so. Isn't that correct?
Yes, and I also did it today.
Fair play.
So unfortunately, turns out when I hang out with Neutron for an extended period of time, it takes me a lot longer to get out of the pup headspace. So I'm still very much in between the two at the moment, which means like at work, somebody will be talking to me and I'll be doing my little, happy wiggle. And then somebody will just say something. I'll just turn around and I'll be like, "Arf," and I'll be like, oh, fuck, shut the fuck up. So yeah, I've done it again today. Thankfully, the person didn't notice and I was bright red. But yeah, I actually think I might have caught it on camera as well. I've been recording training stuff for work because I'm leading a very big project at the minute. And as part of that, we need to kind of make training videos so people can get trained up on the system. So I was at the training academy with one of my colleagues who knows the system pretty well.
Any video of you going ARF?
I think there might be a video of me going ARF. Or at least making like a little R kind of, inquisitive puppy noise. Yeah, it's that the filming was a bit of a shit show because the system just wasn't responding the way we needed it to. So it's just me and him standing there being like, and then you do this. And then the system's like, no. So like, well, fuck, we need to do that again. Good fun. It's always great. We have, the company has its own motto, but we have our own little in-office motto, which is, don't worry, it'll only get worse. And it is just because things tend to go tits up and there's not really much we can do about it, but we have a lot of laughs.
Is another one, is it Fubarb? Or sorry, Fubar? Which is fucked up beyond all recognition or something.
I think that's I heard that one before. I like that though.
Yeah, there's one. There's that's my partner's company that he works for. That they just keep saying Fubarb Day. Yep. Or Fubar or something. Anyway, yeah. Right. So, you're obviously an orange pup.
Yes.
So we're going in towards the hanky code, and
yes.
You didn't elaborate too much on the podcast when you mentioned when Shiny mentioned about the shoelaces, and I was like,
I had no idea about the shoelaces.
So I looked into this and I was like, what? So it is pretty. Apparently, there's the blue shoelaces. Apparently, if you wear them in a certain way, you're a cop killer or something. There was like something really weird that popped up on Google. I was kind of going,
Jesus,
I need to come out of this just in case, like if I ever get arrested and they take my phone, they automatically look at my search history and like, check the shoelaces, You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So, obviously, kink-wise, you're an orange pup. Yep. Anything goes.
Yep.
Does that represent you, or does that?
Oh, it definitely does. Yeah.
Any secret passions? Like what would be your? Here's one that you never really asked, and it's one of these awful, lazy, grinder recon questions.
Oh, here we go.
The hateful ones. It's not the what are you into, and you give the list, and I've heard the responses. We've all had that response going, oh yeah, sucking and blah blah blah, and you're like, oh yeah. But the lazy question is, what would your perfect session be? And I hate that question. Ooh. Because you're kind of going, how? I'm typing here, and are you going to wait?
This is when I use voice messages. This would be when I would use voice messages. Anyone that knows me pretty well knows that I either send long video messages or long voice notes, because I find it easier to talk than to type. So ideal session for me, it depends on how I'm feeling. Thanks to a certain someone, I'm doing less bottoming now, and I'm moving into more of a verse phase, which is exciting a few other people, because people that know me know that it's not small. It's a fair size. So
we haven't got 2 bricks now, have we?
I mean,
are you and Shiny going to start a building firm?
I haven't seen Shiny, so I can't really compare it to mine. But yeah, it's done damage in the past, not intentionally. I will point that out. But yeah, so ideal session for me, if we're gonna go for like a flip session, so a session where we can kind of like switch and flip. I would say it would start out with a good bit of body contact. I'm very much, this physical contact is very much my love language. It just gets me riled up in all the right ways. Unfortunately, I'm also kind of ticklish, but after I've, had a little bit of that kind of physical contact, it kind of wears away and it's just pleasurable.
And it's something very risky to admit.
Oh, I 100% know. I did the same with Neutron. I made it to him and then he just kept tickling me, and it got to the point where I wasn't ticklish anymore, and I was like, see, you overdone it. You got to pick your moments. You can't just constantly tickle me, because it does wear off after a little bit, and then I'm just like you've got no effect now. But yeah, a good bit of physical body contact. Then I'm very much into Musk. I'm one of these weird little piggies. So if he's nice and sweaty, or sorry, if they're nice and sweaty, bonus for me. Then how would I then like it to go?
You see, this is the thing as well.
Probably so a good
switch.
Yeah.
Does it? Sometimes it depends who you're with as well. But again, what would you love? That's sort of way. That's what I'm trying to get
at. Yeah. Okay. So laid on the bed, head hanging over, just a good bit of throat fucking. I just love that. It's.
Actually, that's one of my.
It's one of my favorites. It's just being able to lie there and just get my throat fucked. It's so good.
Yeah, it's actually quite fun.
There's video evidence of a younger Dax getting throat fucked, which is I had to pay bills at some point, so. Which is it's just something I've always really enjoyed. It turns me on in the strangest way. It's other things are just like that's really hot. It's kind of getting me a bit turned on. But that's the one thing that is just like instant hard. So
I want my dentist to know I have fun.
Did you see? Okay, we're going off on a tangent here, but did you see that clip from the new show Extraordinary? Is it Extraordinary? Where the dentist's superpower is that she, like, people's theme tune for how they're feeling is played around them. So like this girl that goes to the dentist, it's like all this horror music, and then the dentist like puts her hands in her mouth and it changes to like this sexual music. Oh my! I'll have to send. I will have to send it to you. It is so funny, honestly. But yeah, so like doing that for a little bit, and then maybe switching about a little bit. Maybe get some toys out as well. I have a nice collection. I have a good collection of Bad Dragon. Yeah. So maybe get them out just to kind of, tease holes a little bit. and this is going to freak a lot of people out, I really enjoy sounding. It is something that I think is a great sensation. And again, it is like Marmite. You either love it or hate it.
I've never had the opportunity yet. I was going to meet someone, and he sent me a picture, and he literally had like a briefcase that opened up. It looked like something where, you know, from the TV show Dexter, where like he would come in with a suitcase and open up. You know, I'm just like, do I need to get the cling film out?
So
sort of
is this you asking me to bring my set along, or?
No, I'm just saying, if you do, be careful, because airlines have a habit of losing things, and if it's expensive, they will lose it.
Oh, don't worry.
Okay?
I put everything in handheld luggage and keep that with me at all times.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, I never got to meet this guy, but there was a curiosity there, and then I have seen a couple of videos of some of the Irish pups having it done, and I'm sitting there, there is a genuine curiosity. I don't know if I'd love it, but again, I think even Neutron said it. You don't know until you try. Basically, it's more or less.
Well, the thing that I recommend with sounding is that it's a good thing to try yourself, but if you have someone that's experienced in it and knows what they're doing, it can be that a little bit more fun. I've done it a few times where I've had a sub kind of tied up, get them semi, start getting the rods out, work up to the right size, because if it's too small, it'll just slip right down, and that can be uncomfortable. If it's too big, it's going to stretch, and that'll hurt afterwards, because when you go to pee, you'll feel it. So finding the right size, it should just gently start to glide down. For me, that is a 6.5 millimeter, which is actually kind of on the smaller side of the kind of rods. The kind of standard is probably about 7.5 or 8. So trying to work my way up. But again, it's a slow process because you don't want to go too fast. It's, like using a dildo. If you go too big too quick, you're going to tear something. And for the back passage, that's very uncomfortable. But let me tell you, for that hole, it's a whole lot worse.
True. It's probably one of the reasons why I haven't actively gone out of my way to do it. Because I haven't really, I found somebody that was into it. It was one of those ones where you're chatting to and the plans just kept clashing, where, oh, I need to cancel, and then they need to cancel, and then I need to cancel, and then you're kind of going, is this actually going to happen there? And then before you know it, a week passes and you haven't chatted to them. It's like, oh, right, okay, you're in the back burner. I'll say hello to you in about 2 months' time or something, when I finally get my life together, Here's a question as well. Particular kinks, okay? So there's sounding, as you brought up there, and you mentioned the Hypno of Neutron. He seemed to be quite experienced and really safe set of hands with that. But there's other things like trust. So the likes of key holding. So you were saying about your collar, wouldn't it be fantastic just to be able to given your type of work? You have to keep the keys on there, but key holding, is that a fetish that you'd be into, and chastity and other things, being pent up in a sense? So, how do you look at that?
Key holding, I'm very open with. I'm very happy to, I'd be happy to have a key holder. I do need to keep a key on me just in case of, the work that I do. I'm not allowed kind of any external clothing on apart from my boxers and my socks. Everything else is clean room garments, so I have to take all my piercings out. I have to change my glasses into safety goggles that are only kept in the facility. So yeah, there is that element where I can't keep my chain on, so I need to have a key to take it off. Recently,
I did chuckle at the noise of the locker. the chain going down in the metal locker. You mentioned that
Yeah.
in the previous.
Yeah, the crink. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit annoying. I mean, I'm not allowed in the facility due to medical reasons at the minute until I get a full kind of diagnosis and sustained treatment. Occupational health who are external to my work have kind of said no. They also declared me disabled, which I was like, okay, thank you. Not really what I was hoping to hear, but great. So my work's been great about it though, because they're like, oh, we'll make sure you get one of the disabled spaces, and I'm like, it's an extra.
I'm sorry,
it's an extra 15 meters of walking. I really don't mind. Like I'll take a normal park. If I can't get another parking space, sure, I'll take it. But most of the time I can get a parking space anyway, so I'm like, it's not a big deal.
And also it'll have a big D on it there for Dax.
I mean, that is the wish. There is a few colleagues that know about the podcast, so yeah, hello to you a lot that are listening. Oh God, I've just talked about like my ideal sexual scenario. Oh, fuck.
I know. I thought I'd throw that out there because I remember you saying that your friends listen to it, so I thought I'd throw some things out for you. Do you ever see yourself evolving into different roles? Because there was a couple of people mentioned Switch and First and everything like that there, but obviously in the pup community, you have Beta, or you have Omega, Beta, Alpha, then handlers, etc. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
I would like to be an alpha at one point. I think once I've kind of developed my skills to the point where I'm happy with them, it is something that I would maybe like to pass the knowledge on to kind of the next generation of pups, so that they can then go on, start their own packs, and practice safe pup environments and educated sexual practices, because at the end of the day I want everyone to have a good time, but I also want them to do it right, because like sounding, for instance, if doing it yourself, if you make a mistake, it's like, oh shit, I'm not going to do that again. But if you have somebody else doing it to you and you're tied up, not much you can really do if something goes wrong, apart from just ow sort of thing. So I think just being able to kind of being able to teach people how to do things, the safer way is probably better. I mean, I always talk about the safer way and things like that, and then I'm a massive bareback slut, so it's there's certain aspects. I mean, it's I always find bareback much better.
It's the only way to learn, but to be perfectly honest, is if you're going to try something new, you have to have it done on you to know.
Yeah,
that's my feeling. So you have to, I would never sound someone because I've never done it, so I don't know the sensation.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know anything about it. So, until you've got a bit of experience with it, you don't do it to somebody else. That's what I would have.
No, exactly.
My opinion of it. Moving on to gear wise.
The fun question.
The fun questions, yeah. So the running theme through the whole podcast was, it doesn't matter. You don't need the most expensive gear.
No.
It's always best to buy the cheap stuff to try.
Exactly. Yeah.
One of the things that I probably, when I was saying that, buying the cheap pup hoods and everything, 100%. I think everybody went to a large rainforest name company at some point. I'm sounding very BBC English without name dropping anything. Other rainforest companies are available. But
name another rainforest. There we go.
Bastard.
There we go.
There's one in Africa.
Caught you out there. Caught you lacking.
Oh no, the Kilimanjaro rainforest. I bloody well climbed Kilimanjaro. I should have remembered that one.
Oh, well, there you go. I didn't even know that was one. So there you go. I couldn't actually name another one.
It's technically, Kilimanjaro is the largest freestanding mountain in the world, and but due to the way the earth bulges in the middle, bit like myself, its peak to the center of the earth is longer than Mount Everest to the center of the earth by about, I think it's about 1.5 kilometers. And that's useful information that I looked up after watching an episode of QI. Anyway. What were we talking about before we segue way off? Oh, yes, the cheap goods.
Gear,
yes. Yeah. Because everybody more or less said the same thing, cheap pup pouch, yes. And if you want to buy the more expensive stuff, that's 100%, you be you and everything out there. Toys-wise, okay?
Toys-wise,
what's your opinion there? Like dildos and plugs and, you're actually putting these things into your body. What's your opinion on cheap toys?
So, when I get my toys, I used to get mine from Love Honey. Mainly because I got the student discount with them, so I would get things from them. 20% is, it's a discount. It's good.
It's 20%,
but then
20%, yeah.
All of my Bad Dragon stuff, I don't get any of the kind of custom made. I always buy the pre-made stuff, and I always get it from the clearance or the flops. And the reason I always go from the flops is because it's usually just aesthetic nicks here and there. Like it's got a wide trim on the base, or there was an air bubble in a part of the toy, but it doesn't take away from the actual practical use of it. So instead of paying, like, I think I got Rex, and I think it was meant to be $180, and I got it for $120, I think. But you still have to, obviously, because it's an American company, you have to pay the import tax on that. So it kind of evens it out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go for kind of the cheapest of cheap, because sometimes they're the wrong material and that can damage your insides. And as somebody that, I have bowel problems now, I have to be very careful with these things. Because if I do something wrong, it could cause a flare up, and then that's me ill for weeks at a time. So I generally find that I have to try and buy, things that have been reviewed quite a lot. I think that's also another important thing to consider when looking at toys and stuff, is checking the reviews. That's one thing that I really like about Love Honey as well, is that they actually have almost like product demo videos. Where they've got someone who's taken it out of the box, shown you how it works, showing the kind of scale of it in their hands and things like that. They're not actually, using it, sort of thing. But you do get a kind of sense of, oh, it's like this. They talk about the material for the vibrators. They put it on the table and show you kind of how strong it is. And I think things like that will help you make more of an informed decision on the toys that are right for you. I personally find that if you get silicone toys, those are usually the best. I wouldn't go for any of the kind of, the kind of vinyl PVC material that some of the toys you get are. I find that they tend to not agree with my insides, but then at the same time, I have to use specific lubes, because some lubes are kind of stingy for me, if that makes sense. Like they go in and it kind of feels like it's burning.
Yeah. Experienced it.
Yeah, so like most of the time I use and here's another helpful tip, is I buy the lube powder, and I just make up like 500 mils worth of lube if and when needed. It is a more expensive initial cost, but in the long run it saves you a lot of money. Like a little bottle of, like a 250 ml bottle of water-based lubricant will cost you, like, say, 9 or 10 quid. whereas this bottle of 200 grams of powder might cost 35 quid, but it'll make 20 litres worth of lube if you're doing it at their recommended levels. But you can water it down, you can make it thicker, it's entirely up to you. So
enough to cover, say, a football field in Darklands. Would you say that amount of lube?
Yes, I would say like if you were to make a 500ml bottle and make it kind of a little bit more viscous, it could cover a football field, and it would be very difficult to try and scoop up and put back into said container. Useful tip there, Shiny. Useful tip. Anyway, Shiny, he's getting ripped on.
And you've now seen the picture as well. So I'm also going to ask you anything you wish you knew before becoming a pup.
Before becoming a pup? I would say it's
your question.
Yeah.
I was about to explain your question to you, but anyway.
Yeah. So before becoming a pup, I kind of wish I knew about kind of a little bit about puppy etiquette. Because it wasn't until I was kind of threw myself into the deep end that I kind of learned how to do things. I'd had a little bit of experience from being around Bite and his name's completely I know his real name. Prince. There we go. God, forgot his name there. He's gonna kill me. I don't think he listens to the podcast. It's fine. So from being around them, I had learned a little bit, but then when I went to Darklands, I kind of threw myself into the deep end. So I learned how to, do the wave, say hello, learn how to interact. And then it's only been kind of very recently where I've been going to events and that and interacting with other pups. Just being able to interact, like the interactions between pups and things like that. It's a very new thing, but it's, I'm still learning, but I kind of wish I'd known this stuff kind of beforehand. But most people will approach me and be like, is it okay if I give you scritchies? And it's like, yeah, and then you do the little wag. But it's things like that I wish I'd known before. And treats. Having treats on you when you're around pups, that's a key thing I wish I'd known. You will make a lot of pup friends if you have biscuits in your pockets.
I know they keep making cookies on the chats, and I'm just like, stop making cookies.
Well, Kerberos did the right choice. He had a lot of the little mini Biscoffs that he was giving out to pups at Darklands.
Oh, I could be an evil pup and actually just bring crackers, and then it'd be like the episode of Miranda there was savory muffins. Who eats savory muffins? But, no, so moving on to what I would say is, let me see now. Oh, advice for new pups. What advice would you give new pups joining the they've randomly found your podcast and are listening to us and kind of going, oh, they all seem to know what they're doing. How do I get into this but not be intimidated by joining?
I think it's something where you really have to just let go and either be yourself, just let your energy out, just be a little bit hyper, play around, interact with puppies. And yeah, just don't be afraid to, be kind of weird. Every puppy that I've interacted with, they're, somebody will start a howl, everyone will join in. Everyone's
First
always
time that
happy
happened freaked the hell out of me. I was like,
really?
What the hell's going on? Why is everybody doing this? And then I was kind of feeling a wee bit stupid joining in because I was like, I'm not part of you yet.
Yeah, I was kind of the same the first time. I was kind of like, oh, why am I joining? This is kind of silly. But I think the kind of wearing the hood, the anonymity that kind of gives you is also kind of like, oh, I can definitely be dumb and no one's going to know who I am, sort of thing.
It's a journey to start owning it, though, as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So then having that kind of almost your own brand identifier is another thing. People will start to recognize you as a pup, which was something that I thought was amazing when I was down for Club Locked, was the amount of people that were just like, Dax, how you doing? And I'm like, oh my god, this is weird. People call me by my like pup name, but it's something so strange, but also like really, really nice. It's having this kind of like
good experience.
Yes,
with that. I got the tattoo and got people shouting at me, going Funzo, in Thailand. Do you want to suit me? And I was like, stop calling me by that name. You don't know me. Yeah, it is weird when somebody starts calling you Funzo and you actually start to recognize Funzo. Somebody saying Funzo in the background. Your ears like prick up and you're like,
yeah. It's when I hear my name being said, like anytime I hear Dax, I'm like, yes. I did meet another Dax at the weekend, that it was kind of one of those moments where we just kind of like Spider-Man point to each other. Interestingly, not a Dax because of Star Trek. And when I mentioned this, he was like, yeah, it's not Star Trek related. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Oh, see, it's like I have an actual canine dog, and we have called him Cisco. Okay.
I love that.
And everybody keeps saying, oh, after the rapper. And I'm like, what?
Who?
And I didn't even know who the rapper was. And when they said rapper, I was like, no, Cisco, not Crisco. And I was like correcting people, going, no, it's Cisco. And then they were like, yeah, we know the guy who sings. Apparently there's a song that I have heard it and I've forgotten what it is now, but I'm like, no, Star Trek. And they're like,
yeah.
And so it's more niche, I suppose. But anyway, my dog will be scratching at the door now in about 5 minutes. So
yeah, because he's heard his name.
Yeah, stop shouting his name. Okay, so obviously one of your favorite places to go is Darklands. Has to be. Okay.
Yes.
But where else does Dax like to hang out?
Does Dax like to hang out? Okay, so recently, Manchester. Now that I've done Kennel Club and Club Locked, two fantastic events, it's something that I will start going to a little bit more frequently. You'll probably see me there alongside Neutron. We'll be doing our own thing, but Neutron is now a very close friend of Dax. I will say no more than that. We'll leave it at very close friend. And I also really like going along to Belfast. I've been to Boo Boos before. I've been to, funnily enough, I've been to more gay bars in Northern Ireland than I have in Scotland. Which is mental considering, I live in between two major cities with their own kind of gay bars. But yeah, I just enjoy Belfast better. It's got better crack.
That's crazy. In Belfast, I'm trying to think what we have in Belfast. Because you're saying you've been to more gay bars.
Yeah, so you've got
Maverick, Union Street, Libertine.
Yep.
But attached to Union Street is Shoe Factory, but also attached to Union Street
I've not been to Shoe Factory. I've been to Kremlin and is it Boombox?
Boombox is good. Kremlin's good. Maverick, love, obviously. Yeah. Boombox and Maverick are the best places to go.
So it was actually
see us.
Yeah, it was actually a Boombox that I went to my first drag show. I went with Bite, Prince, and Bite's fiance. I'm still not used to saying that. I'm still not used to saying that. It's really so weird cute though.
Just suddenly Yeah.
To
That
be
was an
fair,
announcement that
we
there was a lot of screaming.
we had been taking the absolute piss out of him because we were like, oh, when are you gonna propose? When are you gonna do this? And like every time he'd just be like, right, fuck off. It's not funny. And then when I heard he'd actually done it, it was kind of one of those where I was just like, oh shit, he's actually fucking done it.
Hang on, it was T that did it, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, we knew I knew that was going to be that way anyway because Byte had made it evidently clear that he wanted T to do it. And I had joked like, oh, maybe you should do what those other pups did and just do it on the Darklands stage. And Byte was like, abso-fucking-lutely not.
And congratulations to them both. I wish them all the happiness in the world. And
yeah, we're going to get Byte on for season 2. I just need to tie in with him for that. He's already expressed that he's happy to do an interview, so I need to get him in. I do have a few interviews lined up for season 2. So there will be a little bit of hiatus between season 1 and season 2, just while I get the resources and things for season 2 sorted out. But it's going to be bigger. It's going to be, I'm not going to say better because, you know, the interviews that we've already done are absolutely incredible, but I think the content within them coming from my side of things is going to be a lot more detailed and a lot more fun. And you can also expect group interviews, which our lovely Funzo here, I'm hoping will be back for, where we will be having group discussions regarding kind of topics within the community, you know, events that we'd like to see. We'll be having discussion panels. It's going to be a lot more work on my end, but it's going to be like a lot more enjoyable content, I think.
It sounds absolutely fun. And yes, obviously, always up to have a chat with Dax and many others. Right. Reeling it back to your lovely spider diagram that you do for your interview.
Yep.
You've discussed your work. If you're happy to discuss it, what's Dax's private life like? You know, work-wise, hobbies, etc.
So, work-wise, I work in the pharma manufacturing industry. I can't really talk too much about the company that I work for due to bioterrorism reasons. Because of the kind of product that we make, where we're making vaccines and things, we can't really talk too much about location and things like that, just because there is obviously the aspect of, you know, bioterrorism, which is why we're not allowed, you know, branded lanyards and key rings and things like that have the company logo and that on them, which is fun and games a lot of the time. But yeah, I work for vaccine manufacturing. I've done that for the last, just coming up 2 years actually. I'm not allowed in clean rooms currently because of health reasons. I've been tasked with a few very big projects, which have been keeping me very busy doing the work of 4 or 5 people. And deadlines are fast approaching. So it's been stressful, which is why I think being able to kind of escape and get into the pup headspace has been really helpful, kind of dealing with that. Aside from that, I really enjoy my photography. I've been doing a lot recently where I've just been going for kind of like little mental health walks at the local country park. It's got a nice big loch in the middle, which in the lovely weather that we've been having, or the lovely few days that we had of lovely weather, I just took my camera, I put on my big lens, my 70 to 300 millimeter lens, and just went around taking photos. So I got a lot of pictures of kind of the natural scenery. I got some of the baby geese.
Natural geese.
Yes. I mainly just every time I see them, I'm like, oh, I better get a photo of that and send it into the Kinky and I group. Just because there's a certain pup there that's obsessed with geese. So
Oh,
Yeah.
it's goose night and goose morning, and
Yes.
sometimes if he has a lion, it's goose afternoon.
This afternoon.
Lovely Sly. He's a wee dote, so he is.
He's
Anyway,
adorable.
um,
So yeah, I've been doing that. I also do a lot of gaming. I have a ridiculously sized Steam library, and yet I'm always like, I don't have anything to play. I feel like gaming libraries for nerds is like a oh geez, there's a cat right at my foot. It's like the shopaholic person's closet, like where they open it up, they go, oh my god, I've got nothing to wear. But yeah, I have too many games. But recently I've been playing a lot of Cooper World 4, which is kind of like a tactical strategy game, which I really enjoy. I've been playing Peglin as well, which is kind of like a pachinko dungeon crawler. Or is it? I'd say it's more like it's more like a roguelike, because if you die, you then have to restart the entire thing all over again, and it's randomly generated the paths you choose. It's a very enjoyable game. It does have kind of a challenge aspect to it. I've also been playing The Demonologist, which you can find Dax playing that on YouTube. I scream quite a lot. I have a scream identical to Homer Simpson.
Yeah, and I did log on. Was it one Sunday evening, and I logged on. You were just like doing the live video on Discord, and I was watching it, and all you heard was, and then I started screaming because it was infectious, and I was just like, no, I'm going now. All the best. Have a good evening. Bye.
Oh God, it's a lot of fun though. I did manage to coax a couple of friends into playing it, which was really good fun. But yeah, it's kind of like Phasmophobia, but on Unreal Engine 5. So it's just got that kind of little bit more crisp spooks to it. Both are very good games. Phasmo I've had since its day of release, and watching that kind of grow into the almost AAA title that it's becoming has been incredible. Before they had all like their big updates and that, my friends and I used to play it, and we used to do we used to have our spin wheel, which would have different scenarios that we had to do. So sometimes we'd have to do like the Amish run, where the only electronic you were allowed to use was the photo camera. Everything else had to be analog. You weren't allowed to turn the power on or anything like that. You had to use candles for lighting. And we also had the Most Haunted run, which is where you had to basically overact everything. Kind of like, is it Yvette Fielding, the host of Most Haunted?
Yeah.
Where like you would hear one little noise and have to run screaming and go, oh my god, I thought I was gonna die. So yeah, just shit like that. But apart from that, I do occasionally do a few creative projects. I do have the kind of full Adobe suite, so I've got very fast with Photoshop and things.
Okay.
So that's why the posters that I make, they usually get done pretty quickly now. To begin with, it was always like trying to select the subject and edit little bits out, and now it's just like click 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 click, done, bam, it's done. So it's quite good fun, being able to kind of develop my skills and also improve the podcast. Because I mean, when we did your interview at first, it took me an hour to get Adobe Audition set up, just for the channels, and like tonight I literally just pressed 2 buttons and it was ready to go.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was so much better than the first experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know.
This sound test is going on for an hour. Oh my god.
Like, don't worry, I'll be with you in 5 minutes. I'm just trying to figure out, fuck, why is it not working? So yeah, now that I know how it works.
I finished my bottle of wine by the time you'd actually got through.
Honestly. And like having the Stream Deck as well is an absolutely incredible tool. So I basically have all my buttons there. So my top row, I can mute my mic. I have the button to launch Adobe Audition, the button to launch Discord, the button to launch the virtual audio cable. I have a CPU monitor just to make sure my computer's not spiking too hard and losing data. I can deafen you, so that, you know, if you're maybe talking about something a bit controversial, I can just be like, bloop. I have 3 buttons for launching. I know you're not going to say anything controversial. Don't test that theory. I have the 3 buttons which launch the kind of guidelines that I've made, the ones that you're kind of looking at, the diagrams there. I have a dice roller for Dax's dice,
which is going to be fun later.
Yeah. And then I also have the buttons down the bottom which take me to the text channels and the voice channels of the Discord server.
Yeah.
So
you know what? You have one hell of a setup. I would say Byte would actually struggle to cope with so much technology. And
I think he would enjoy it.
There. He has been going mad at me for taking the mech technology-wise, because he's obviously a big tech nerd, geek, gamer. Yeah. He runs the Kink NI side of Discord, which he laughs at me because I sometimes struggle to work out where the button is to hang up Discord. Technology is not I've basically sat there listening to you speak a foreign language for like the last 5 minutes. So if I sounded interested, I'm a good actor. If I didn't, I fail.
It's like earlier, you managed to call me on Discord and it didn't even ring. It just popped up with a message like, Funzo has started a call.
Just push buttons and this thing happens.
Why is it not ringing? It's just, it was very strange. Somehow you broke it and got it to work at the same time. So I'm like, all right, okay. There is a few Easter eggs in Discord that I'll teach you about later. So yeah.
Yeah, it's probably better in it's easier if I just find another person to do it for me. I have been enjoying Ultimate Chicken Horse thing.
Oh, nice.
Game.
Yeah.
We got it on the PS4. It's fantastic. It's
a good game.
Great fun.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Great drinking game as well.
Yeah. The thing is, I have the Jackbox Party Pack, so if you're having pups and that over, I will put them on a flash drive and I'll bring them over, or I can just share my Steam library with you, and then we can have a good competition.
Absolutely. I think there's 9 coming.
Okay, I think he only does 8, and I think some of them might go up to 16. I don't know, but I think
worry,
usually
I'll sit there. I'm like Barbara
8.
Streisand there playing football and Meet the Fockers. I'm just going to go for cocktails.
Oh God, Barbara Streisand.
But let's bring it back.
Streisand.
I know, segued off there.
Sorry, I've been watching South Park recently, so Mecha Streisand.
Well, I'm trying to respect your privacy, but haven't you heard of privacy? I seen that episode. I just laughed and laughed and laughed. But anyway, moving on. That's controversial. We'll not go down there. Fave foods. What's your favorite food? Now, also,
favorite food.
Where's your favorite place to eat in Antwerp?
In Antwerp? Oh man.
So there's a double whammy. So,
I guess it kind of covers both. So I really, really like Mexican food or Asian. Favorite Mexican, I really like burritos. I do enjoy Taco Bell, but the best burrito place in
Are you sure
the
you've
UK?
IBD? If you're eating that all the time, I can see
I'm not
why.
eating it all the time, unfortunately. I don't get them as often as I would like. My favorite burrito place though has to be Boojum, which is
really,
I love a Boojum burrito.
Okay. I do love their salad bowls.
See, I haven't had the salad bowls.
It's like one piece of lettuce, one like scoop of rice, and then just meat.
Nice.
Cheese and stuff.
There was a place near my flat when I lived in Edinburgh called Bonnie Burrito, and they did Iron Brew pulled pork, and it was fucking banging. I loved it. Iron
Brew. Oh.
It was so good. But
I don't like Iron Brew. I can't drink it.
What?
I don't like Iron Brew.
Oh my god, get out. That's
My
it.
partner
Interview
loves
over.
Iron Brew, okay?
I
So if
fucking
it's
love
brought-
Iron Brew. I will bring Comet a bottle over. I will buy a bottle at the airport just for Comet.
And then I will give you a packet of potato, cheese, and onion. And there we go. A cultural exchange.
What was it I discovered recently? There's a type of crisp that I really like, and it's made by Tato. What fucking was it? Oh, that's gonna bug me now.
The Ridges?
Is
They're
it?
better than the real McCoys, you know?
Is that the ones that you get from Aldi, I think? No?
What, McCoys?
No, the Ridges, because Aldi have their own version, which I just eat them way too often.
We don't have Aldi, so I can't help you there.
Oh my god, I forget you don't have Aldi. Oh, how do you
I
live?
know. They're in the Republic of Ireland, okay? And they're in Scotland.
That's wild.
They just won't come to Northern Ireland for some
It's like you guys don't have a
reason.
Costco either.
What's it called? Oh, yes, I remember.
Costco's amazing.
We don't even
love
have
Costco.
Wilkinson's. Is Wilkinson's still a thing?
I don't know what Wilkinson's is, so I can't just comment on
There
that.
used to be one in Holyhead that was great. You just like whatever space you'd left in your car, you just fill up with all the crap from Wilkinson. But no. Yes, sorry, your favorite food. Yes, you were saying burritos and Mexican food.
Burritos, Mexican food, or I do really like Asian food. One of my favorite restaurants to go to just in town is Wagamama. I absolutely
never had their chocolate cake.
See, I don't usually go for the desserts, but one of the things that they've done recently is they've gone completely nut free. Oh, that
it was the weirdest thing I ever had. I some might like it, and if you like it, fair enough. But it tasted of the ice cream with it was lovely, but there was a weird mustard flavor through it. Maybe the person who served it to me didn't like me.
That's a bit strange. Yeah. No, because Wagamama, they are now pretty much nut free, which is absolutely incredible. Because I have a peanut allergy, so usually eating out, I have to ask about their allergens and stuff. So sometimes a little bit risky. But Wagamama,
how severe is that?
Anaphylaxis. So I can be around them, but I can't eat them, which is annoying because I've always wanted to try Five Guys. Fun fact for people that have a peanut allergy, 9 times out of 10, you're not allergic to peanut oil because it actually doesn't have any peanut protein in it. It's just the oil from it. So I can have the fries. I'm not allergic to them, but because they sell or they give out cups of peanuts, there's way too much of a contamination or cross-contamination risk there for me. So I can't eat there. But in Antwerp, there was a place that we went to called Pizza Taxi, and their logo looks exactly like the fake taxi logo, just with a pizza in it, which was quite funny. They do really, really good pizza. I recommend them. They're actually probably only a 5-10 minute walk away from the Darklands venue. That, or I did order a burrito, funnily enough, from Holy Guacamole in Antwerp, and I have never really been a fan of guacamole. It's not, I'm like, it just tastes like wet grass, but this guacamole was fucking good. I ate the whole thing, and I was then like, maybe guacamole isn't so bad. I've never been able to find another guacamole that tastes as good.
Yeah.
You did not sound happy with that.
No.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have been a thing for me, to be perfectly honest. But one of the saddest things, moving on again, as a professional interviewer, which everybody can rate afterwards and say, who the hell did you get to do that interview? How drunk was he? But no, one of the saddest things from the podcast was the personality test. And I did ask you to send me a link or something.
You did. I got it this morning when I was in the shower.
At 20 past, well, if you were in the shower at 20 past midnight, what time did it?
No, I did. I seen it when I was in the shower is what I'm saying. Right. And I was like, oh shit, I'll need to get that when I'm out the shower, and then just forgot and went to work.
And I was going to do it for you so that at least, poor little Dax is the only, it's not the only one who's done the personality test.
You have the thing in front of you, don't you? The diagram. If you Control-Shift-Click on the little yellow personality test, it'll take you to it. I should have said that.
No,
the link's embedded into it.
I'm looking at it with my phone, and you've just said Shift.
Oh, so you should be able to tap and hold on it, and it should pop up with the link. Should being the key word.
This is where Bite now gets his laugh if he does listen to this, because it's not working. So anyway, I'm not going to do it. So tough.
It's fine. Nobody's done it yet.
Yeah. So next, I didn't even know that was a thing that opened. Right. So I'm going to say this is going to be the question. Who was your favorite person? I'm going to leave myself out. Okay. I'm not going to put you in the spot there, but who was your favorite person to interview over the last 9 weeks?
Oh, my favorite person to interview. Oh, that's a tough one.
It is, and also one that could lead to ramifications on your next meet.
I know. Oh God. Everyone has been a delight to interview in their own way, because everyone has their own unique perspective on all of the different subjects that have been covered. I mean, there's one person that I should say, because I don't think they'll be happy with me if I don't say them, but I actually have to... Oh God, it's so tough. I am going to go with Blaze, just because of how high energy and wild he is. The double personality thing I just think is incredible. The fact that he's got not one pupsona but two, and just getting his view on kind of the pup scene, the superhero supervillain side of things, and just the interactions with everything afterwards has been absolutely incredible. But I mean, Kerberos was great for his ridiculous Jimmy Carr laugh.
I'm sorry, I did listen to that one literally last night, and I cackled like a drag queen. I was like, ha ha ha, because I was like, oh my God, because you mentioned the laugh, the ridiculous laugh, and then I was like, okay, and then it just popped out, and I was like, oh my God,
yeah,
it was just brilliant.
It's so funny.
On the words, it was a genuinely interesting perspective, because again, this guy is in Austria, I believe.
Yes.
He kept mentioning Corinthia, and I was kind of going, where is that? But I'm sure we'll find out at some point.
Yes.
If it's in Austria or Hungary or
he's an Austrian pup, yeah.
Austria, right.
Aries was great to interview, because I mean, he was staying with me, so I was kind of like, hey, I need someone to do the first interview, and you're kind of staying with me, so
you have to.
Yeah, I did see Aries at the weekend. He was very surprised to see me and very happy to see me, and it was wonderful to catch up with him. Obviously,
Aries also had the problem with the recording, didn't he? It was like you missed the first half an hour of the show, or you forgot to record it.
No, so we were still figuring out addition at that point. So yeah, it literally the timeline was like 3 minutes long. We're like, oh, it's just going to keep going, but it didn't. So after 2 minutes, he's like, yep, I'm done. So we just kept talking. It wasn't until I turned around, looked at my computer, and went, it stopped. It just stopped.
Oh.
So I had to do it pretty much all over again. You were really fun to interview. Obviously, we both go on tangents quite a lot, so it led for some interesting conversation. Neutron, an absolute delight. I can't really say anything bad about him. Yeah.
2 hours.
No,
that was the longest.
I mean,
you know, so.
I feel like that was an interview, and you know, me getting to know him a little bit more personally. And then obviously we had Blaze. Then we had
Tiny. I think it was Shiny next, was it?
It was Shiny next, who gave me
Shiny
one of my...
did make me chuckle. Best pickup lines? I know you're going to say that.
Best pickup line, yeah, it's part of the soundboard. It's an amazing feature of the soundboard now for the daxsdeviants Discord, which, you know, if you have Nitro, you can use the daxsdeviants soundboard anywhere on Discord. Another reason to join, because we have some very unique, fun sounds in there. Then it was on to Kino, Kino is a very close friend of mine. I've known him for absolutely years. He is a ridiculously confident pup and isn't afraid to show himself off in public. Then we had Kerberos, who, as I said, brilliant laugh, very insightful. The projects he's doing is amazing.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Then we had Snap, who had his own magical insights. He's, you know, quite well known in the UK scene, and he's also been to several Darklands now. And then we had Aston, Aston is an incredibly hardworking pup. I don't know how he has the energy to do it all. But again, the project he's doing is
I was
amazing.
sitting there listening to that one, and I was kind of going, "Oh my god, when does he sleep?"
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know for a fact if I had his schedule, I probably. Well, I don't know if I would collapse or fake a collapse just to get to lie down for a day or two.
Honestly, like I'm doing a lot at work. Like I'm kind of 9 till 5, more 8:30 till 4:30 at work, Monday to Friday, and that just the amount of stuff that I do at work just burns me out. By the weekend, I'm like, okay, it's time to relax. And I'm like, but I need to catch up on all the things I didn't do. So yeah, I'm just tired. And then it's like, oh fuck, we've got podcast stuff to do. So yeah, I'd usually do that Sunday night. It's like, oh fuck, I've not uploaded the podcast yet. Shit.
I know we had to reschedule. This was the third attempt.
Yes,
today, wasn't it?
Third attempt.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I forgot. Sorry, do you mind if we leave it? And then you said you were exhausted or something, or you were like, no, just so much on. So I was like, with the way my life's going in the next few weeks, I was like, it's either tomorrow or Thursday, and that's it. That's your
because if we hadn't done that, then I would have had to have like scheduled someone else in for episode 10.
Yeah.
But the good news is that after this, I will be doing a collage of all the posters that have been made. I'll have to make my own poster, which means I'm gonna have to get my own camera out, get my own studio equipment out, and take pictures of myself. So that's gonna be fun. Then after that, I'll make a collage of all the posters, and yeah, it'll be something that, you know, people can download. It'd be nice to see, you know, people that have been interviewed to get their posters printed out. I might actually print yours out for you and bring it along. Print it on an A4 poster, and you can have it sitting in your office.
Oh, the dead Funzo 1.0.
Yeah. Which, you know, that's actually a thing, is that maybe for season 2 we can interview Funzo 2.0.
Oh, I know. Oh, God, could you imagine like creating a complete alter ego?
Oh, you can definitely do it.
Oh, stop. Anyway, okay, I'm going to turn.
Just channel your inner Liam Neeson.
Shall we get you to play the dice game? And no cheating. You have to be honest with the number that pops up.
Yes, I mean, I don't have the thing open in front of me, so I'm kind of trusting you here.
But I can't open anything because I'm using my phone.
Well, so, I have the dice roller, so I don't know what the questions are.
I'll tell you what, I have a pair of dice or die, and I will throw it, and then it'll not come up with a 20, will it?
No, it won't come up with 20. I have the thing on my stream deck, so as soon as it pops up, I will tell you the number. Again, I don't remember what any of the questions are. I just know that Nat 1
I do have the questions in front of me, so that's...
Okay, good. You know. All right, so just tell me when to roll, and I will roll.
Are you ready? Yep.
I'm ready.
Okay, drum roll, please. Go.
4.
Okay. What is your favorite sexy scene from a TV show / movie?
Ooh, Sexy scene. Oh, that's a tough one.
I actually like the way you say that in your Scottish accent. Sexy scene.
Sexy scene. What is your favourite sexy scene from a movie or TV show?
Feels like Susan Boyle stroking my hood.
Welcome to Dax's Deviants ASMR hour. No, ASMR freaks me the fuck out. I'm not doing ASMR. Oh, that's a tough one.
Oh, that reminds me of a joke. Anyway, go on, say it. Go.
I mean, I do like. I really love the sexual tension between two of the main characters in 911. Just because there's definitely a gay romance going on there, but like it never actually happens. But it's basically two gay dads looking after this cute little kid with cerebral palsy. And you're like, come on, just get together already. And it's like, no, I like women. It's like, come on, you two want to fuck. That or...
Fascinating.
Oh, one of my favorites, I mean, it's technically kind of a sex scene, but not really, was in... Was it Grey's Anatomy? I think it was Grey's Anatomy, where like this divorced husband and wife, even though they were both like remarried, were meeting up and still fucking. But he had got a Prince Albert and she had a like contraceptive device and it had caught on it and they were kind of stuck together having sex.
I remember this episode.
I was like, yeah, that's the sort of shit that would happen to me if I got a PA. I'd be fucking a guy and it would get stuck in his ass somewhere and I'd just be lodged inside him and have to go to the hospital. So I thought that was quite funny and found that quite amazing.
I remember piercings. I was kind of like, once I got the nose piercing, the first thing people were saying was, "Oh, you could use that in bondage." And I was like, hell, you're tying me up with that.
Absolutely not. Like if I don't like people touching my septum ring just because it's it's a big bit of metal dangling from my nose. I'm happy for people to yank on the chain and things. Like people use that to choke me and things, so that, that's enjoyable. But yeah, the septum ring, I had one guy like try and lick it and I was like, get your fucking tongue out of my nose.
Ew.
Not happening.
I know that is a kink. Like nose kinks and stuff. Not
for
hugely.
Me. Don't lick my rings, please. There's one ring you can lick, but not the metal one.
Yeah.
Well, there's a fucking audio clip.
Right, okay.
Clip it.
Next, roll of the dice.
Yep. 8.
8. Okay. I think you answered the question, but biggest turn off you have.
Oh. I'll answer it, but I am going to also skip on this one because, I feel like it's quite a, I can answer more interesting questions than this. Biggest turn off for me.
Nose sucking.
I mean, it's not something I enjoy, but it's not a turn off. Biggest turn off for me is when someone like spanks my ass. I don't find that a turn on at all. I know some guys find it a turn on, but it doesn't do anything for me at all. Like, I don't mind getting choked out, thrown about and things like that, but spanking my ass, it's just one of those where I'm like, this does nothing.
Interesting. It's a wee bit like, for me, well, originally I would have said nipple play for me does nothing for me. And then at Darklands there, I had nipple clamps put on me and I was on my knees so quickly in pain. But I did find it actually, maybe you needed the right amount of torque or tension to draw out the reaction. But it's interesting. Okay. Now,
so we'll do 2 extra rolls.
How many questions do you do? 3 or 4?
Usually 3, but we'll do 4 just because that one I'm not really counting. So I'm gonna roll the dice again.
Do 3. Yeah.
So dice roll is 14.
14. Oh, the red ones. Oh, okay. Have you ever sent a you up text?
I have several times actually.
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
And
I
they're
mean,
lying if they say, "Oh, I've never done
I
that."
live by myself. There is nights where I'm like, I'm kind of horny. I wouldn't mind, having a bit of fun before going to bed. So yeah, there has been quite a few times where I've just sent like a you up text and just, invited someone over at like 2 a.m.
One of the stupidest things you can ever do is hop on the grinder just as you're getting into bed. Okay, you're going to sleep.
Yep, I've done
You
that
hop on the
too
grinder,
often.
see who's up, and then all you get is ping, ping, ping. Obviously, I'm making myself sound very popular here, but
The
you always
ones,
get the
yeah.
blank profile ping.
Oh,
And you're
the
like,
ones that annoy me so much is the ones that's like, oh, like, oh, do you travel or calm? And it's like, oh yeah, kind of calm. Oh, would you be able to pick me up for some fun? Do I look like a fucking taxi service? No.
no.
Like the whole point of you asking if I can calm is so that you can come here. I'm not going to get you to bring you here. That's just extra effort.
Yeah.
I want to be a lazy bottom. I want to take a load before I go to bed. Don't make me put in any more work than that.
It's cold in Scotland.
Exactly.
Okay, so next little roll.
Next roll.
Oh,
17.
Here. 17.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you define yourself from dom top to sub bottom?
Ooh. I think I talked a little bit about this before, but I used to be like, I'd say switch bottom, but I started getting into kind of my sub top phase, and then I started doing a little bit of dom top. So I would just say fully switch at this point.
Yeah. Switch is the best way to be.
I think so.
Yeah, you just get to enjoy a little bit of everything. And also, you go to the horse fair and, you then need the top because you've been a mare.
Yeah.
Absolutely been destroyed by one of your guests. Or...
Jeez. Well, hopefully the next horse fair, there'll be some bricklaying inside me. So,
fantastic. I don't ever know if I'll ever have the courage to go into that. I'm quite happy with what Darklands is for me at the moment. I know I want to do a lot more. Everybody says that there, but I know I'm going to have it planned out a little bit better of. Not staying out so late, going home maybe at 3 rather than 4, so I can get up and not miss the puppy walk this year or next year, So, yeah, I was disappointed there that I missed that there. I could have gone on the news with you,
I did appear briefly on the news twice.
Yeah, I did find that fascinating actually when you mentioned there, you said to your family, and it was like there's a bunch of pups. So the family. Open-minded,
So I would say
closed-minded Presbyterians of Scotland.
No, I wouldn't say they're closed-minded. They know that side of me. My parents have seen me in latex and stuff before. It's I'm very open about the stuff that I do, and it was funny because when I was booking my tickets for Darklands 2022, I was like, oh, that's me book my tickets for. Mom was like, you could have a husband by then. I was like, Mom, it's less than a year away. What the fuck kind of relationship do you think I'm getting into?
But then look at Prince. He got into a relationship and just brought the other half along.
I mean, that's what I did in 2020, which was a terrible mistake.
Right. Okay.
But, we live and learn from our mistakes. And I kind of met someone.
The next person that comes along, it might be like the best idea ever.
I did actually meet someone at Darklands this year.
Oh, of course.
So yeah, exactly. So
sorry, I have a very I have a mind like Swiss cheese.
Oh, don't worry. Mine's just constant.
Full of holes.
Mine's just constant like that. So yeah, it's things have a way of working out. At the start of the year, I just kind of convinced myself. I was like, this is it. I'm just going to be a single cat dad. I'm just going to have 9 cats, and that's going to be my life. It's going to be fine. And now, yeah,
You're going to have a busy June. So if you're coming over to Belfast
oh God,
on the 3rd of June,
busy June. I'm
keep in
gonna have
mind,
a
3rd
busy
of June,
3 months. Yeah.
And then you've got MRM coming up.
Yes,
I'm
which
sure you're going to head down to Friend. Unfortunately, it's too close to Dublin Pride for me, and financially, obviously I'm moving house when that's happening.
Yep.
So that's fun. So yeah.
Not
are
only
you
that,
coming to
if
Belfast Pride as well?
I'm aiming to, yeah. If there's any events that anyone wants to see Dax at, just drop me a message. You can either reach me through
Absolutely.
Discord, Twitter, whatever. I don't mind. If it's an event you want me to be at, I can certainly try and make it happen. Obviously, I have to try.
Is there any Scottish? When's the Scottish Prides start dropping dates? I bet you put you on the spot here. You're kind of going,
I actually don't actually know. I know my company's trying to, or I say my company, I'm leading that project as well. We're trying to take part in one of the prides, which means I obviously can't appear as Dax. I don't think my company would look too happily on that if I was representing a company as a pup. They're only just starting to get a little bit, with the times. But yeah, it's still kind of a little bit of an old white boys club. So we're trying to change that for inclusivity in that. So it's a work in progress. Dax is doing work both professionally and puppily. So yeah, it's a lot of work in progress, but it's getting there.
100%. So this will be the point of the show where I'm going to, I wouldn't say it's the end of the show or end of the episode, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up me asking you questions with just more or less a conclusion. With it's been a fantastic 9 weeks of including myself, obviously, including myself into that 9 weeks, But it's been a fantastic experience for me personally. It's been fantastic listening to all the pups and handlers and title holders that you've had on the show. It's been really well run. It's been enjoyable to listen. Mostly it's my Monday evenings where I switch the television off and go into oldie worldly radio style, listening to a podcast.
Nice.
With a wine down and a nice glass of wine. Fair play. Thank you very much for doing this, because it's, as you say, you normally go straight in for, well, not you, but these types of podcasts normally go straight for title holders or, and they're so well rehearsed with their answers because they've been, quizzed and they're constantly being interviewed and things like that there. Where it was nice to hear people from so many different backgrounds, so many different countries, so many, as you say, grassroots, and how they're growing their communities and being so inclusive for so many people. So thank you very much for running such a fantastic podcast. Do you have anything that you would like to add to that? And also, is there any other additional bits of information that Dax wants to put out to the world?
Well, thank you for, appreciating the show and listening in. It's the listeners that really make the show. Because after all, the people that listen are the ones that come on and be guests. So I appreciate everyone that listens, everyone that's applied to be interviewed on the show. Anyone that's now listening for the first time, thanks for checking it out. I really appreciate it. This started as a project where I wasn't sure how it was going to take off, and I wanted to do my bit for the community, but at the same time, I know that at that point I didn't really have the connections, and since starting this, it's just kind of flourished into this big magical thing where people are recognizing me at events and things from the podcast. I'm being able to share the podcast. People are showing interest in it, and I hope to continue to keep up the good work and deliver even more great content in season 2. I do have, as I said previously, big things planned. and yeah, if anybody wants to get involved with the stuff that's happening on the podcast, there's the Linktree link. If you see me at an event, I will usually have my NFC business tag around my neck. So if you have your phone, you can just tap it or scan the QR code and it'll take you to everything you need. You can follow me on Twitter. You can message me on Twitter as well. You can message me on all the socials. If you do happen to get my NFC tag, it also has my Telegram on there, where you can message me directly. I'm always happy to chat to anyone regarding anything. Dax is trying to be very much an emotional support pup. So if you see me at an event, you just want to, chat about life and things, just have a chat. I'm always happy to stop and chat. But yeah, no, thank you for being an interviewee and an interviewer.
It's been a very surreal experience. I have, I said to you before at the beginning, I was like, I am freaking out about interviewing you, because I'm sitting there going, I'm going to mess this up completely.
Oh, you've done fantastic. Don't even worry about it.
Hopefully, everybody's kind of going, well, thank goodness he's over.
I doubt that.
But no, I have enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. And is it? No, it's not next. Oh, it will be next week. This Friday.
Yeah, it'll be this Friday, technically. Yeah. God, it's always so confusing recording these things in advance.
Yeah, I'm hopeless, as I say. They're mindful of Swiss cheese and red wine at the moment there, because I opened the bottle as I was sitting back and enjoying you lament about being Pup Dax. I am going to go and chill and get the tail end of the movie my partner's watching.
Nice. Well, you're now tied for longest podcast episode, so congrats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're currently approaching the 1 hour 57 mark. We've just hit it.
I don't think I can. I don't think I have another 8 minutes in me. I'm sorry, love. I'll leave that for Neutron.
If I had £1 for every time I've heard a guy say that to me.
Okay. All right. Well, I've been Funzo.
And I have been Dax.
And it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Dax, tonight. And all the best.
See you next time. Goodbye.